Cybernation Uncensored.
So we're live. Alright. Welcome back everyone to Cybernation Uncensored, and welcome back to our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle. It's been a while, but I'm here with our coterie, and to get things started, let's just jump straight into it, shall we? When we left your coterie, there was a murder in Greenfield Community College. This is the domain so graciously granted to you by the prince for you to protect. During the investigation of that murder, and after painting a very lovely, bloody scene, you were able to find a friend of that murdered student, Chelsea. After a bit of looking around, you find that she is something more than human. She has elongated teeth, but not sharp enough to pierce in effect with any kind of effectivity. And that she's been uncomfortable under the sun, and she's now confiding in the arms of her professor, Riley, after having been thoroughly terrified by Nora in the background. So, with that scene painted, and the coterie still together, Nora and Riley having full information so far of what Chelsea potentially is talking about, although she was walking the daylight. What would the four of you like to do now? Because whoever murdered this person is still there. And depending on what Riley believes, it may or may not be this girl that you have with you right now. So what's your plan?
I'd like
Right.
to going right from where we left off with the two with Nora and I in the office with her and the others outside.
Right?
I'm gonna try something to check something out because Nora has been freaking them out, understandably so, to psych them up a little bit, and I'm going to. Okay, that's enough, Nora. Please show yourself. Let them understand who we are.
Okay.
The amount of times this girl has fallen off the chair, this makes about 4 now,
Yeah,
as she just jumps off the chair with a woman standing right behind her. Where? What?
easy.
Professor, what's going on?
We understand.
Professor,
Look, and
we, what? Who is, when did you come in? What?
I'm gonna open my mouth and just show my fangs to illustrate that we're like them.
You too?
That's why I've been missing, so to say.
What?
All right,
What is this?
Nora, would you mind stepping out? Tell the others about the situation at hand. Maybe one of them will have an idea about what to do. I'm going to help them calm down a little bit.
All right. I will.
Thank you.
There's more?
Yes, the people I've been going around with.
Oh,
Now,
my God.
the important thing is that you need to listen to me, alright? We're going to figure out what's going on with you. We're going to help you. For now, you need to relax, alright? I know this is difficult,
Okay.
so let me help. And Drake will pop his fangs back out again, and he'll tear open his left wrist. And he'll hold his arm out. Over, not giving her to her to feed, but to let the vitae fall out.
Okay, so you don't want her to bite you. You
Yes.
just want to feed, or you just want to let the blood flow from your arm
Yeah.
into her mouth. There's a moment where she has the urge to actually sink what little fangs she has into you, but you can pull your arm back. She
It's
covers her
alright.
mouth in disbelief. And she sits down quietly, completely unsure what to make of the situation. While Laura has stepped out, what do you tell these two who've been waiting outside?
I'm gonna tell them everything, but I'm gonna omit the part where I scared Chelsea.
So at the very least, you know that she's somewhat like you. She has teeth that are not sharp enough to really pierce effectively, as you guys saw in the body. But she does drink blood. An unusual case, because you did see her in the security footage walking in the sun. So what would you like to do?
Like a cross between a ghoul and a kindred.
Just what I was about to ask you. She seems to be behaving differently than we can, but she seems less lethal.
I don't think the prince would take kindly to this. Would not offer the same deal that he made all of you. So she must be destroyed. And
Okay,
just
step in the
just
room.
just an above the table note, that is completely Vivian. I personally, as a player, would send her to the Anarchs, but not Viv. Viv is a hardliner.
That's fine. But you guys step in the room.
Laura, what's Drake's thoughts on it? How's he behaving? Do you know?
He's very sympathetic for her. He seems to care quite a bit. Should make destroying her somewhat difficult.
I think Drake has struggled somewhat with the changes that we've been going through. Maybe a more educational approach might help him. If you were to explain the need.
All right.
Let's head in.
The four of you enter. She is seated quietly, and since what you've done, she hasn't been able to really speak. Since Drake opened his wrist and gave her just a few drops of blood, she has not spoken. She's just sitting on a chair, stunned, silent. She just looks to the three of you as you enter. They the same?
Yes.
How many?
We can learn about that in time. Just focus on pretending to breathe right now. Whether or not you still do that, I'm not sure.
I am. Dude, I breathe. I eat. I don't understand.
You okay, Drake?
outside of the empathy I'm having at the moment, I'm fine.
Who did this to you?
I don't. How do I know who did?
Just think back.
What am I thinking about? What am I looking for?
Think
I-
about the last few days. Think about where something seems out of place or missing.
I went to a party about a week ago. It was a. It was in one of the frat houses. There was a guy there who doesn't go to this college. Said he just graduated. Introduced me to some of his friends. We got high, we got wasted. But I still remember a lot of the night, except for one guy. He came to me. I didn't recognize him, but he said he was part of that group that just got introduced, and I just believed it, I guess. And then after that, I don't remember. I just woke up back in my dorm.
Right, and remember, before you woke up, the night before, did you get high that night?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
I don't understand what's happening now. What's going to happen now?
You are unnatural.
She looks at Drake. What does that mean?
Just, you'll understand. Just take it a moment at a time.
You exist in an unlife between that of the kindred and that of the mortals. I don't understand it. We can take you to people who may understand it.
Okay. What do I have to do? Is there a place we go to? How does this work? What?
Viv, I'd imagine we take this to the top.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Viv, Drake, Nora, a word, please. She seems pretty naive, but given the way that we came to be, she may not be being totally upfront with us. We should be on guard. She could be a canary. Yes, I think to the top we've decided. Right. Okay.
All right. Okay. The way? Lead the way, guess. I don't. How does this work?
Just stay with me, and I'll come over and offer my hand.
I would like to make an insight on her story that I've heard from her so
Sure.
far.
It's an insight. This will include everything Nora has reiterated to you. 4.
If 4 successes isn't enough to read her, that could go badly, but hopefully 4 is
No,
good.
oh, that's more than enough for her. There are pieces missing to her story, but just purely based on her and how she tells it, she seems to be saying what she knows. The pieces missing might be intentional for whoever did this to her. But as far as she's concerned, this is what she has. The
That
things
is
that
that's
you need to
exactly
look
what I was
out
looking
for is
for.
how she was turned.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I was looking for, is whether or not she believed what she was saying, or whether she was leaving
She
stuff out.
does. There's stuff being left out, but it looks like she has no control over that anymore. You head to your vehicle pretty early in the night. You guys are heading to the Ivory Tower with this creature for now. On your way there, nothing, interrupts you or gets in the way. No additional murders. I should remind everyone that you've already spoken to the ex-boyfriend of the victim, who is in a rehab center. Once you arrive at the tower, this luxurious, glorious looking, still intimidating in shape, sky or high-rise tower, right in downtown Chicago. You enter in as a receptionist looks at you, or clearly not expecting your presence. A ghoul of the prince. Can I help you?
We have a wayward soul that requires
Yes.
authority and information. Maybe.
I see. He starts squinting at her, who takes a bit of a move to behind Drake.
It's all right.
A moment, if you will, and he gestures over to the waiting room or the waiting lounge. It doesn't take long before the ghoul returns to you from his desk. If you will follow me, the prince will see you now. A bit of that college attitude comes out as she whispers to Drake. Prince, what is this, a castle?
Something like that.
You move. It's an elevator, there's only one button. Goes straight to whatever floor it's meant to go to. The elevator just keeps moving and moving, and to this young girl, Chelsea, it feels like the longest elevator ride of her life. Oddly enough to the rest of you, she's still capable of sweating. There's a few beads of sweat forming on her forehead as she wipes them off. Once the elevator doors open, they reveal a massive, almost ballroom-like place that has one long table at the end and the prince overlooking the city from glass walls. Standing next to him, of course, would be your sheriff, Damien. As you enter, Damien watches as you guys enter with his presumed kindred. And the prince looks over. How interesting. The three of you I have granted mercy to have discovered yet another turned without my approval. And yet this one. And as soon as he turns and looks at her, he stops. Midway of him speaking. He walks over to her. She's afraid, yet she cannot move. As he takes her, just not hurting her, but putting both his hand around her jaw to examine her. And she is terrified. You can actually see her body still shiver, something the rest of you are incapable of as well. Not without active effort. He actually grabs the top lip and forces it up to look at her teeth. Then he lets go of it and takes out a handkerchief as if what he just held was disgusting. Then he just tosses the handkerchief away, looks to the rest of you. Do you realize what you have brought to my court? Neonates.
Something that exists between kindred and ghoul. I felt it
We have
best
a
you
word
knew.
for that. Finbloods. Vampires, kindred so far removed whose blood is so diluted that they barely exist as one of us. An abomination. He looks, and then when he says that, the moment he said the word Finblood, Damien already has one of the swords on the walls gripped in his hand. And she leans back. Speak to me, child. Who sired you? She looks terrified, unwilling to speak. This may be your one and only opportunity to survive this evening and this encounter. I suggest you take it. I don't know. I describe him. I can't. Tall. White. Long hair. Man or woman? Speak quickly, my patience runs thin. No. It was a man. Long hair, tied, ponytail. He didn't. He took me away from the party when I was high, and that was it. I don't remember after that. Something was wrong with his face. Excuse me? I can't remember exactly, but when I was looking at him, I remember seeing something disfigured. Like he had burns all over him, and his hair had fallen off, but when I I don't know, my memory... I'm remembering two different things. Well, I remembered him looking handsome, blonde-haired, tied in a ponytail in the suit, and taking me to somewhere. But a part of me is saying that he looked disfigured and he was wearing a coat with a long hood to hide it. Like he had burned skin. I don't know which is real. Interesting. It would appear your mind has been altered. Where was this thing found? And he addresses your coterie now.
Within our domain. It is... She is connected to two murders. Whether she is the guilty or not, we have not proven. Things don't look good for her, though. And we did feel it was in the best interest of the Camarilla to bring her here.
You were not wrong. Damien, take this girl to a private room while I discuss her fate with those who found her. He just walks over to her. Come with me. Don't fight. He just looks at Drake, what to do.
It's all right.
Okay. She follows Damien out of the room, away from earshot, while the rest of you are left with the prince. He looks at all of you and asks, so, these two murders, when did they occur?
When was it? I don't have that note. Was it
Last
last
winter.
night?
Okay.
Yes, just yesterday, right?
Yeah, last evening and then this evening.
Let him know.
I see. The process of creating a Finn blood is complicated. Not all who undergo survive. Check on the body of the most recent murder. Ensure that it does not rise.
The most recent murder would be the body we disposed
The
of in the
ex-boyfriend.
lake.
Oh,
Your Majesty, there may be a slight problem with that.
I see. Well, at least it is no longer a factor. I want to know who turned her and who has been turning them. By our laws, her very nature is an affront. You will find who did this, and she may yet live until you do so. But make no mistake, she is on borrowed time. When her usefulness ends, so does she. will not have a Finn blood running in my court. Fix this. He calls back for Damien, who brings back the girl, terrified as hell. And you're allowed to leave her. For now. Do you guys leave? Or is there something you want to tell the prince? No? Okay. You head down with her, presumably keeping all conversation to yourself until you're out of the most dangerous place for you. On your way out, you have your car parked there, but it seems to have moved forward past the entrance in favor of a large, stretch limousine. And there is a man standing there, human, a ghoul, for those of you with Bloodhound, who moves forward. If I might have a moment of your time. A kindred of great renown would wish to speak with you. Perhaps there is a mutual benefit to this arrangement, should you agree. He gestures to the limousine if you'd like to. But if you step away, then you step away.
We just came from the prince.
Yes, and we have waited for your meeting to end. It is a business transaction, if you would like to see it that way. But should you refuse, my master, then you are free to go.
It's easier to...
With a need for a clue, Viv. What do you think?
Well, I was going to say it's much easier to refuse an offer once it's been heard.
They were kind enough to wait.
We'll come with you for now. Yes, we will come with you for now.
Worry not. My master would not be so crass as to harm those the prince has granted the right to live to. Follow the rules and the traditions as always, and he opens the back door of the limousine, allowing you guys to enter. The young one, Chelsea, you let her come with you, or do you want Duvian's driver to hold on to her for now?
Oh, they're not keeping her?
No, she's your responsibility until you figure out what to do. Until you figure out what happened to her, she's your responsibility.
I mean, if she's our responsibility,
Then she's coming with us.
I'll hold the door open.
Alright. When you step in, there's a bit of shadow overcast on the man, but that shadow eventually gives way when the limousine starts driving and the moonlight starts hitting. Is a very, very large, heavy-set man. Huge. Best estimate, about 500 pounds or so. About 6 feet tall, with a large Cuban cigar and white hair that's been sort of side-parted in a very business-like way. Immaculate suit. Clearly tailor-made. But he looks at you and he moves forward, and Vivian is the one who would recognize one of the most influential advisors to the prince, Horatio Ballard. As he moves forward and takes a smoke, forcefully doing that smoke, given it does nothing for him but habit. It is wonderful to meet you. My name is Horatio Ballard. I'm sure you are aware. Looks at Vivian.
Mr. Ballard, it is an honor to meet you.
Yes, well. I have come here with business. And the four of you... He looks at Chelsea. Potentially five, but the four of you I wish to speak with. There is a tide in Chicago, a change in the direction of the wind, and an opportunity for young entrepreneurial kindred to rise through the ranks. I've heard of your troubles as of late, rumors and whispers. And then he just looks at Chelsea again. I believe I might be of some assistance. A favor for a favor. Perhaps this is your opportunity to rise up the ladder quickly. Be known for more than simply being neonates by the Princess Grace. Are you interested, or does this ride cut short?
Such a favor does indeed sound most beneficial. And there is nothing in this world that is free, as you well know. And therefore, I suspect that the favor you wish in return is just as big. I'm willing to hear you out.
Very well. That is what I like to hear. As I said, the tides are changing in this city. There are many things happening. Many opportunities presenting themselves that previously were unavailable. Perhaps you would like the opportunity to be on the right side of our history. The winning side. I will find for you the one who has caused your problems. Looks again at Chelsea. I will even have them delivered to you, bound that you might not lift a finger. In exchange, however, a boon must be paid. There are things in this world that do not work. Those in positions that may not have as strong a hold as they believe. It would be beneficial for you to perhaps throw your hat in the ring for those who have the strength to hold what they aim to hold and keep that which they can keep. Would you not agree? You can, any of you are allowed to roll either wits and insight or intelligence and politics. And because there are +2s here, I will allow any 2 players to claim them as 2 extra dice. Decide amongst yourselves which one that'll be.
I will roll flat and take my normal 4 dice.
Okay. Drake's got 2. Does anyone else like to take it for now or leave it first?
Yeah, I'll take one of those twos and roll intelligence politics
Sure.
because that might have different answers. It's one less die, but
Sure.
and then custom
We'll add
modifier.
modifier.
Yeah. 2. Chat dice. Roll it up.
4. Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna spend a willpower. I don't want to turn that into a.
No.
I don't want to turn that into a.
You might mess up.
Yeah, no.
Well, the 4 is good. So, for Drake, he's speaking in riddles. I guess you could say that. Like, he's speaking without speaking. So if you ever think like a legal drama, he didn't technically say anything. So you can't really get him for anything. But he's laying it out there for you to read. So he's protecting his ass.
Yeah.
For Vivian, politically speaking, the simple answer is he's making a power play. But the thing is, of all the years that you've known this city, that you've been here, that you've played this game, no one is dumb enough to make a power play unless something big was happening. And from his perspective, Horatio has about 100 years over Prince Jackson in terms of age and experience. But there's a reason he didn't become prince after the previous one died. So where he's getting his confidence, you're not sure, but he is confident. And he's making a power move. You could take it, or not. But there is the understanding that he hasn't actually said anything. The boon, however, he's asking for is clear.
Yeah.
When the time comes, you back him.
Mr. Ballard, in the great chess game of our unlife, there are pawns, to be sure. There are those that are elevated to knighthood. There are the kings and queens, certainly. But it's the hand moving the pieces that really matters.
On that, we agree. But I ask you, what becomes of the pawn that survives and reaches the end of the board? Perhaps that elevated status may yet be in reach. The competence of the pawn is a reflection of the competence of the hand that moves. Now, my dear neonates, you have much to think of, much to ponder for yourselves, and it has been a lovely discussion. And I give you he hands a card with a single number on it and nothing else written. A means of contact. I will give you till the end of the night to make your decision. Then the offer expires. But know this. There is always a winner in chess. And as the car parks to the side and the door opens for you guys to leave, and the king always falls to end the game. And he just gestures to the door for you 5 to leave.
Yeah, Vivian will step out.
So, you guys head out.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
He just nods. 5 of you are out. Chelsea is looking at Drake, but also all of you. What the fuck was that?
Oh, you've heard all the professors talk like that before.
Yeah, when you're about to fail someone. Oh,
It's test time.
Well, not to speak my opinion too clearly, but to keep up with the language Vivian decided to enjoy themselves with, there's no gambit without risk. And issues that face our domain face all of us.
The problem with backing Ballard is that Ballard forgets to mention the stalemate scenario. But that would be a scenario in which we would lose. If we stay aligned with Prince Jackson, we may win, we may lose. And if we lose, we die. Finding this creature that is behind Chelsea's embrace is one step closer to winning on Jackson's side. The benefit that Ballard offers would go a long way. But a boon is a boon, and you do not go back on boons. So if we agree to it, then when the time comes and Ballard puts his foot in the ring, we would have to back him.
What keeps us from going back on it?
Even in extenuating circumstances, the penalty for failing to uphold a boon is generally death.
Even said boons that would betray the standing prince.
yes.
Yeah, rock in a hard place.
Trust the untrustworthy or make no decision and die when the clock runs out. Either way, I look at Chelsea. We probably should have this discussion outside the prince's place. This feels
The
kind
car awaits you. So,
I'll jump in the car.
Alright.
Does anybody have any hunches? The prince spared us Drake, spared us Nora, but we already know that there's something massive happening in Chicago, or we wouldn't even be here, part of this conversation.
There's a rogue element that is turning people for a war. That much is clear to me. That smells like fairy tale Sabbat. It's a boogeyman story that you tell fledglings to keep them in line, that the Sabbat are around every corner. Apparently, once they were a powerful force. They were kindred that obeyed none of our laws, that flaunted their supernatural existence. Doesn't sound so bad, but they did not consider themselves to have a tie to humanity at all. They gave in to the beast. Beast I am, lest a beast I become. The reason that they're all gone is because the hunters found them so easily. But if they're rising again, that could spell trouble. More trouble than a power play by Ballard.
If and storyteller, how long
Mhm.
has the prince been the prince? Is this a new position?
R- New relative to your long lives.
Okay.
So the War of Chicago, which was known, which Viv have given you a brief story about, of warring vampires and werewolves, was about in 1993. And the prince took over slightly after that. So roughly just under 30 years, which is relatively new if you consider immortality. There's also the idea that the prince himself is roughly 50.
Mm.
He's not that old.
Vivian, did you see the changing of the guard?
I was in Paris still. Actually, no, to be honest, wait, 90, 93, 94. I was about 6 years old. That was my mortal life. I was still in Paris, but yeah, that was
Yeah.
my mortal life.
It's storyteller.
Yes.
I'd like to search. I'd like to do some information gathering on my phone. These two murders just happened here, and yes, it's Chicago. But is there any others that have been reported on that are grotesque in nature too? Because two in the same place is either very on purpose or very coincidental.
Sure. The rules on technology are a little looser around this city. So you could still have a phone with some moderate internet access as long as you keep your search history relatively something normal. Like, has there been brutal murders of bloodless
Well,
car
no,
corpses in Chicago?
searching news headlines. Look at the feed
Yeah, of
apps.
course. Intelligence, and I'll let you use your technology. Search through media and the like, see if you find anything. And there is a 2 if you want to take it. No one's taken that yet.
We'll save
But
it.
never mind, you don't need it. 6, okay. Searching through social media headlines, maybe Twitter feeds of CNN and the like, or your local news channels, or even just the local PD trying to block off a certain area. There have been reported sightings of another murder. 2 of them. Not in your domain either. Both in the south side. right around the Burnside area and Riverdale, so way south of Chicago. The two of those were people found in their apartments. One in an apartment, one in some form of rented house, both living alone, with the same general MO of murder, but it's not reported as a serial killing because two of those murders you guys covered up. Otherwise, those 4 murders in the span of 4 nights, actually. 1 each night, with the 4th one being now where you found the bodied ex-boyfriend. That would be classified as serial killing had you not covered up the latter 2. But of course, there's likely suspicion among this Chicago PD that this is a serial killer. 2 of them with the same MO. The thing is, these are reported. Given what Prince Jackson said about creating quote-unquote thin bloods, there could be more that have turned just like Chelsea, for example. Chelsea was turned about a week ago. If you follow a pattern of 1 per day, there's probably about 2 more that have actually turned. But that's what you find so far. Anything you guys would like to do?
Listen, I didn't ask to be part of this world, and as much as he stops the chaos, the prince has done nothing more than spare me a death I would have already suffered to be here. He speaks down to me, to us, and I look around the group. Viv, even somewhat to you. I understand that there's an order and a ranking here, but it potentially is also an opportunity to be something more than we currently are, stuck on a campus.
Viv gives a light chuckle. Do you really think that Ballard would be any different?
I would bless us with a boon.
But we would still be where we are. That the hierarchy and structure of our society is the way it is.
Spoken like somebody stood on by the prince. That's all I'm saying. No disrespect. There might be some wiggle room.
There is there is another group with less order, less organization, less hierarchy. Whether Jackson or Ballard is prince, the social order still stands. And between you and I, if Ballard had been prince when all of you were turned, he would not have been so lenient as Jackson was. But that's water under the bridge. We can't prove that. So, you have 3 choices. You can be with the Camarilla. If this group decides together that we want to back Ballard, I will support that and I will throw in with him as well. If we decide not to and go this our own way and stay with Prince Jackson, I will do that as well. I will, on those 2 terms, go with majority rule. If that doesn't suit you, you do have two other options. You can greet the sun tomorrow morning, or you can go to Gary, Indiana, and find the Anarchs and see if they treat you any better.
Allow me to propose a third option. Jackson has asked that we find the culprit of these murders, and we have been offered a way to do that. A war is coming, or at least a battle over the top of this hierarchy. Is there any harm in getting the information that Jackson wants and not backing the usurper?
Yes, that would be a death sentence.
Even from Jackson?
A boon is a boon.
What do you two think?
I feel that this entire time we've been stuck tiptoeing around what the prince wants. So maybe just for a little more peace of mind, we can go with Ballard.
Can I say something? Chelsea just looks at all of you, slightly terrified, or extremely terrified.
You'll get used to it. Go ahead.
No, it's just the way the guy in the building spoke. Kind of felt like all he said was do this, and made it very clear that he's willing to kill everyone. The guy in the car, unless I'm mishearing something, offered something. I mean, it sounded like he was offering a promotion. I don't play chess very well, but I at least know the rules.
That, as a counterpoint, that may well be based on his position in the play.
There is another good reason to go ahead and back Ballard. We agree to Ballard's deal. He hands us what the prince wants on a silver platter. We hand that over to the prince. We're good in the prince's eye. And then if, not when, but if Ballard makes a power play, we back him. If he never has the opportunity to make that power play, we never have to back him. So that there is that. I can see the benefit in either course. I can see more benefit in backing Ballard, but a gift like that is not without its price. And I don't know that the price was spelled out as clearly as we think it was. That's my biggest concern with backing Ballard.
Drake, Nora? We need to be unanimous, I feel.
I will go the way everyone goes. I will abstain unless there's a tie.
Before you respond, Nora, if you go to the discipline section of your sheet and actually no, not that. There's a voice in the back of your head. You can't make out what it's saying. Only the direction it's pointing you towards. Right where the limousine had left. It's just a strange feeling that you have to look that way. The same road that the limousine took to leave. It's a nudge.
I'm just gonna say, do you guys hear that?
Sorry, hear what?
Yeah, what?
There's a voice in the direction of the limousine where it left.
I activate my supervision.
Nothing. You can look through, see through the dark, but there's nothing there.
What's it saying?
I can't tell. It's a little too far, I think. If we follow it, I may be able to hear exactly what it's saying.
The words of the Malkavian are often enough sound judgment that they have been viziers to princes far beyond our realm. Driver,
Yes.
Nora will give you directions as we go. Follow that phantom noise.
Understood. He begins to drive and follow. Nora, you can sort of hear the voice, not hear it, move around. Can you roll your wits and awareness, please? There's still a floating +2 if you'd like to take it.
Let's see.
Custom modifier if you'd like to take the 2.
I'll take 2. Custom modifier 2 dice?
Yep.
Okay. And roll.
4. Okay. With the benefit given to you by a lovely audience, you are driving through downtown, across over to the west side, a very luxurious part of town. More specifically, you arrive at a club with no signage. And just as you pull up, you can see Ballard's limousine parking there, into a VIP parking in the basement. This is where your driver, because of how much I assume Vivian has taught him of domains and areas, stops following. Because you're about to enter what is essentially owned by the Toreadors. And you are looking at the forefront of what is known to Kindred as the Succubus Club. The premier vampiric nightclub, where feeding and all forms of debauchery tend to happen for the Kindred. Now, if Ballard, a Ventru, is walking into this territory so brazenly with VIP parking, that entails that he has the backing of the Toreadors. Or at least he has their ear. But the driver refused to move forward without Vivian's orders. now.
I think
Ma'am?
this side or not, if Ballard proves himself capable enough to find the person responsible for this, Ballard proves himself resourceful enough and capable enough to manage us if we were to go to said war. If there's anything to learn from history, it's that it repeats itself. Monarchs fall, new ones take their place, advisors whisper in ears and stab the same back of the ear they whisper into. I see no harm in protecting ourselves, since it seems like that's the only thing you do in this afterlife, is at the end of the day watch out for yourself. And this is the best way to look out for ourselves.
Yes, the unwritten rules of being kindred in the Camarilla is you look out for yourself first, your coterie second, your clan within the sect third, and the sect as a whole fourth. And anything else is not worth your time. Good observation.
It sounds like there's no question that we call this number or drive into that club.
Alright, I will make the call.
You make the call. Do you tell your driver to leave here? You are bordering a very specific territory.
Oh yeah, but we're still on the neutral side of that line, right?
You are.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
then,
just
then,
sort of.
yeah,
That's
we
where
will
the.
stay exactly right here.
Okay.
Does would the neonates be aware of the happenings of this club? Would Vivian fill us in at least?
Would you have told them over the last few nights about what the Succubus Club is?
If I knew about it, yeah. I wasn't sure if I knew about it or not.
By this point, you've known about it by now. So for the rest of you, the Succubus Club is basically a vampiric nightclub, a franchise almost, where kindred go enjoy themselves. You typically need an invitation to enter, or to even be allowed within it. Recent nights, it's been traveling. Like, it moves from city to city as a traveling club, but there are still footholds. Particularly this one, the very first one. Now, once you guys are... Oh, sorry, you guys are still staying by the border of neutral territory. You make the call, to which he responds, to which his ghoul responds. I speak on behalf of the Master Ballard. To whom do I speak with?
Vivian Devolo, we just spoke with Senior Ballard, Monsieur Ballard,
Yes.
moments ago.
I suppose you
Please.
have an answer then.
Yes, please let him know that we would love a game of chess.
Excellent. Then please, if you would send an address to which you would like the game to conclude for the start of tomorrow's evening. Then, for which the game should begin. By the start of tomorrow's evening. Then the pieces will be delivered to you. Good evening.
Very well, thank you.
He hangs up. You've thrown your hat in the ring. The Toreadors have not accosted you, but you haven't entered their territory, technically. The driver looks to Vivian. Ma'am?
Drake, or Riley, No.
Yep.
Drake, I was right the first time. I have the slide up wrong. Drake, you did some looking into additional cases. Let's head to. So, I'm trying to recoup the order of known murders. Campus with Chelsea. The two in the south.
Yep.
And then
the
back to camp.
ex-boyfriend.
And then back to campus again.
Oh, the order is slightly different.
Okay.
So the two in the south happened first. One day, then the next day. Then Patricia, Chelsea's friend. Then the ex-boyfriend was the latest one, which was tonight. So that was over the span of the last 4 days, which you were busy. Prior to all those days, there were probably two more that died that aren't showing up, which may mean that they rose. And then the very first one seemingly is Chelsea.
But that was back towards campus.
Yes. Well, Chelsea was sired within campus. The other two, if they did happen in campus or in your vicinity, it hasn't shown up as a murder anywhere. Where do the four of you want to head off to now?
Let's head back to the campus haven. See if we can't.
Very well.
I mean, we have a little bit of a lead already. We can go through other security tapes. We seem to be very good at digging up history that way. See if we can track down any sightings of this guy. And I will also drop a I will send the text over to the phone number for the campus address
Okay.
for the chess pieces.
Is that safe?
Safer than delivering it to one of our homes. We each have our
This
own
is an own
place.
haven.
Yeah, we each have our own places that we can retreat to if necessary. The group shelter is the best, easiest to replace.
Right. You drive back over to the school. Presumably do the same song and dance for the security team of telling them to get lost.
Vivian
raising
says
the
it's
lines
my
later.
turn on the computer. Move over.
All right. Intelligence technology. After Vivian tells them to leave. You don't have to roll since they're mortals.
No, the rouse check is
That
for
is-
afterwards.
Oh yeah.
I'm just
for the
rolling early
erasure.
because afterwards I change their memory, so I will rouse blood then.
Sure. So Drake's gotten good at this. Um, looking through the computer the last few nights. There is the sighting, and this is a week ago, based on Chelsea's story, of Chelsea leaving a fraternity party from the fraternity house. She's leaving that dorm area. And her memory does, again, if you bring her here, conflict. She has a bit of a migraine on the side when she looks at it, because what she's seeing is that she's being walked out of the room with someone in a large coat and hood. And it's very clearly obscuring their face, their hands, they're covered head to toe. albeit it is Chicago and it is slightly colder during this season. You're at the tail end of winter, so his clothes don't necessarily stand out, especially when they're outside. But it doesn't match what she originally thought she was remembering, which is a man in a suit and luscious golden hair. She gets dragged out and brought into a car. The car is a nondescript black sedan, heavy tints, and there is someone inside, but you only see the feet through the security camera. The car drives off without the man, without the one who led her there. And the one who led her there just walks across the street, leaves, and enters a different car. Identical as well. Black sedan, no identifying marks, but there are two different plates. However, the camera is not of a high enough quality to discern those plates. The man might have led her out, but he's clearly not the one who turned her. However, those two cars are following each other. So for Vivian, once you start erasing the guard's memory as you're leaving, you will realize what your sire had long told you about this ability. It works for as well as it works. But when put under intense scrutiny, if it didn't work as well as you might have wanted, memories may conflict. The things you've overwritten may resurface. And when you try to recall Chelsea's panic story under coercion from the prince, that starts to make more sense. With that realization, would you like to do anything at the moment? It is fairly late in the evening, just past midnight. Or would you like to retire, given that Mr. Ballard has so graciously decided to solve this problem for you? What do you guys want to do?
What can we do?
I mean, we don't have any other leads, right? No connections or obvious points. No one we know that we can try and get in contact with again for whoever we're dealing with.
That's essentially correct.
How about we rest best we can?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys sleep? You guys head home? It's still early in the evening, which means you still have some things to do. But before we cut the break, Nora, when you return to your apartment, there is a man, a very familiar man, already standing there, dressed sharp as always. Nora, my sweet. And he puts down the glass that was clearly filled with some blood. You have found yourself in an interesting position. I
How's
am
that?
so delighted that you decided to follow my little nudge towards the right direction. He puts both hands on your shoulders, his face standing about a foot away from yours. Continue. Continue on this path. And there is greatness waiting for you at the other end, as well as myself. He moves your jaw slightly over and tilts your head with a very gentle push. And he just hovers his fangs over your neck, just enough to slightly pierce the skin and nothing else, before he disappears.
Ah, What a tease.
And he just leaves through the open door you never had the opportunity to close. Not that you're able to
Then
see where he moves. But it's clear that voice you were following was from him. Is there anything you want to do this evening?
I don't know. I'm just Nora is still bothered by the mystery, so she's probably gonna head towards campus, and just sort of wander around and try to see if there's anything, or see if anyone suspicious just so happens to show up.
Unfortunately, your night ends wandering aimlessly to nothing. For the rest of you, is their evening spent doing something, or do you prefer to take this moment to relax?
Vivian's going to go on a hunt.
Great. What are you looking for?
Some rich grad
Upper
student,
class.
undergrad, something. But yeah, some rich daddy's paying for my full ride here. College student stumbling home from a bar.
Manipulation, intimidation. Your specialty applies. Go ahead. Yikes.
Oops.
So, remember when you guys were looking for another murder that might have happened? There's another murder that just happened. You find a rich daddy's boy grad student with all the money in the world, throwing it around, probably in a community college because he just failed through everything. And has just been given whatever he can get. First, I'm going to give you a stain. Because secondly, his blood is so intoxicatingly blue that you just can't help yourself. And you drink, and you drink, and you drink, and eventually there's nothing left to drink. You've satiated your hunger completely, and the beast is, for the first time in several years for you, satisfied. And you are left with a bloodless corpse on the ground in an alley outside of the college.
I'm going to suggest
Mhm.
2 stains instead of 1 because of my convictions.
Let me just check. And no, you were right. 2 stains on your humanity as you see a bloodless victim in front of you who has done nothing wrong, and his only crime was probably that he was born with a silver spoon. And that is the perfect place to begin our break. So everyone, we will be back in a bit. Please stay tuned to see what else is going to go wrong with his coterie. We will be back. And welcome back. So, right before our break, we left Vivian with a corpse of her own doing.
And
This is yet another student from the college.
there's a little tiny bit of a little kind of retcon. The beast isn't quiet. I do still have one hunger because of the flaw Methuselah's thirst.
I see.
Yeah. So
You killed someone
for
and
nothing.
You're still unsatiated.
Yeah,
And
for
now there's a
nothing.
corpse in this alley outside the school, which is the third known student death in this school in the span of a week. What would you like to do with it?
I would like to call Lucas and
We'll answer.
have.
Ma'am?
I've had a little bit of a mistake. I could use some cleanup help, please.
Yes, of course. Please send me where to go.
Yeah, I'll direct him to the alley.
He goes over in the car. He looks at the body. Looks at you. Ah. I'll take care of it. The police, however, will require some convincing. He looks around. I'll take care of it. He takes the body, looks around, Pardia with no street cameras, that's how you feed. He dumps it into the back of the car. And he drives off, and because of how useful the retainer you got is, he can make small problems like this disappear. With a little bit of money and the rest of the evening, he has a note forged and convinces people that he ran away. It'll work for now, as the body is sent with cement shoes back to the bottom of Lake Michigan once again. This time, Lucas goes above and beyond and traverses slightly towards the Detroit border. Now, since your evening is filled with some murder, would the other two like to do anything with their evenings? Before calling it a night.
For
Drake, anything you want to do?
yeah, for getting Chelsea situated, I think if we're escorted or getting ourselves driven, I'm going to join her in taking her back to my old apartment.
She's still stunned quiet. Doesn't say anything if you don't. But as you drive her, she just looks around. Moves her head. It's like she's seeing the city for the first time. And you can see in her eyes there's curiosity. What else is hiding? What else is there? What else has she not seen before? But she stays quiet in your car.
It's all a bit overwhelming, isn't it?
Understatement of the year, Professor.
Well, hopefully we can get this taken care of and keep you safe.
Hope so. Just looks around.
Are you at all interested in keeping a semblance of your old life?
Is that even possible?
With effort. Admittedly, I'm only a bit new at this myself, since basically when I first went away from the classroom to today. Which, I mean, it's been like, what, for us, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Give or take.
So, we can try. I think with the two of us together, we can make something happen that's reasonable.
I know, it feels like everyone wants to kill me. Kind of like high school, I guess.
Well, I don't. And for what it's worth, I don't think my friends do either.
I saw the way that one woman looked at me.
Which one? The
The one
the
that looked
creepy
like she owned the
one or the
place.
Vivian? That's their nature. There's a lot to teach you and a lot to take in, and we'll take it over time. And we don't have too much time tonight, but basic rules. Oh gosh, and I'm just kind of like thinking through my head to everything that I got
Vivian
told by
said,
and it's
which is a lot.
it is a lot. I'm not gonna get everything right, but the biggest thing is to not show who you are. It's called the Masquerade. We exist like this because they don't know about us.
I don't think anyone's going to believe me. It's going to think I sharpened my teeth and went crazy.
There are others that might catch wind of it, like the people who made you, or other vampires, or kindred is the proper term that they use. We have our domain, which is the college. I suppose you'll technically be a part of us for now. You
Professor,
won't.
you're sounding more like a young adult novel.
I mean, I'm not that old, first of all. But listen, just keep your head down. If we come to get you, just stay with us and trust in us. For now, until we find you a proper place, my old apartment will be where you're staying. It's secure enough. You have a key already. I don't know how many people know about you. If anything happens, you can contact one of us, or probably just me.
It's fine. I think I got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And through the conversation, it's, arriving, parking, walking them up to the door.
Yep.
And then,
Thank you.
yeah. And how are you feeling hunger-wise?
Not very. Just a little.
Just a little? Okay.
Nothing unmanageable.
Well,
The blood doesn't taste any different. It's still copper. It's just that I like it now.
I haven't eaten since I turned myself. Outside of maybe a first encounter I don't remember. You had a somewhat nicer first week than we did, I think. The three of us were tied up and
Well,
interrogated for a little bit.
I don't know about that. My friend died. I'm just gonna sleep, Professor. Thank you.
Yeah, be safe.
She nods. Puts herself in the apartment.
Yep,
You can head home.
back to my haven. All done.
Morgan, you want to do anything with your night?
Yeah, I think the risk of trying to be another risky role, I'm going to try and feed. I'm going to
Intelligence, streetwise.
go down
What are you
to
gonna do?
like a convenience store or like a little market and pick up some meat and any sort of drugs
Steak.
that I have on me or in my apartment. Just gonna chop the meat up into little diced sizes and just put a couple of tablets inside a couple of these diced little slices. Get down an alleyway where there's a lot of rubbish. And I sit very, very still. My eyes turn yellow as I just sort of like
Wait for a rat
a
or
rat,
something.
a fox, whatever. I've kind of just put like a little depressant, a little downer in the meat to try and
Do
slow
me
it
a
down.
Intelligence, streetwise, and then click your black market for obtaining the drugs. We'll consider that your feeding roll. You'll click streetwise first.
Yeah, intelligence.
Then don't forget to tick in your specialty once you confirm.
Thank you.
One.
Maybe it is a rat.
You could spend willpower to re-roll 3 of those black dice.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, let's do
Yes, you
that.
could. So you right click the result on the chat, and then willpower reroll, and then select 3 of the dice that is given to you. 3. Okay, better. So you leave chunks of meat, and for a moment, a hobo is about to eat them. Still, you scare him off with your eyes.
Away. Get away from me.
He runs in fear of what looks like a wolf on hind legs. And then several rats show up to take the bits of meat, and you're gonna need to take a few of them because you put a bunch of downers in them. You sink your teeth in about 4 or 5 rats that are filled with downers. The blood could taste better, but the drugs are certainly kicking in. You can clear out 1 point of hunger. The downers are starting to kick in through the blood, and you can spend it in your haven, peacefully sleeping, or actually dying. So, with your evenings over, you will proceed to the morning and then towards the evening of the next day, where humans go back to their regular lives, but your dead corpses remain untouched until the sun sets once more. Each of you will make a rouse check again to wake up for this evening. There's that hunger.
Getting awful hungry.
Nora and Drake are beginning to feel this. For Nora, there's no voice or anything telling you to do something. Instead, in your apartment, you are seeing red lines through the walls, the heartbeats and the nerves of everyone who lives here. Walking Happy Meals. The whole lot of them. For Drake, it's finally settling in. That hunger is finally ticking in the back of your head. Instead of a growling stomach, it is a sharp pain, like a knife slowly piercing its way through your mind. You need to feed, you need to eat. Everything and everyone around you is nothing but a bag of blood on legs. You can hear their heart beating. It's intoxicating and annoying at the same time. Before we get to any of your hungers, there is the matter of Vivian, who will now roll a remorse test, which is a number of dice equal to anything that isn't marked. Okay, Vivian, you wake up. Your ghoul has cleaned everything for you. There is no murder to be reported, just a runaway student. Business as usual. It should bother you. He died. But what's another blue blood? What's another spoiled child? It's fine. You have more pressing business to attend to today. There's no problems here. You wake up, you feel fine, you're not hungry. It's a good day. And Lucas is proving to be the worthwhile investment. Nothing wrong here. Let's move it along. You have to get and gather your coterie after all. No point worrying about something that's in the past.
Yeah.
So, get up. Lucas informs you what he's done. Forged a note. Told the police. Bribed them to close the case. Kid ran off. He won't be found. Drake and Vivian do not have the time to go on a hunt, as you do not want to be late for what happens next. Sorry, Drake and Nora. Vivian will pick up all three of you and return you to the college. At the college, there is a security guard who looks and recognizes Vivian and says, "Ma'am, there's a package that was delivered to you. It's been signed for. It's in your office."
Thank you.
He just nods.
Thank you.
Doesn't look like he knows anything. But as the four, do I say 4 or 5? Is Chelsea being dragged into this? Or do you let her live off her college life? Not that she has night classes, but... Will Drake bring her?
I mean, I would go to Vivian's decision. It's our responsibility, but I think Vivian's been our leader.
Vivian would ask where she is and collect her as well.
Okay. She would be in the college dorm, having tried to live a normal life in the daytime. So when you collect her, she is there being called over by the owner of the school. She moves, comes in, and once you guys arrive at Vivian's office, there's a large wooden box, packaged, sealed, delivered. Crowbar for help. As you open the box, covered in those styrofoam peanuts, is a body of a kindred staked. And there's just a post-it note at the bottom of the lid, as promised.
Welcome on
Kindred
in,
is
Raiders.
yet Hey, welcome. You're just in time to watch this coterie figure out what they're going to do with a body in an office of a dean or the owner of a school.
Blood for the Raiders. Let's make it happen.
So, if any of you want to give them any complications, that is perfectly fine. But what are you going to do now? You do still have this very well-made pine box to keep it in. And as far as anyone's concerned, it would look like some sort of expensive artifact that Vivian has bought again.
So,
But it is a stake body.
yeah. So, this kindred. I mean, we didn't get a good look at the cloaked guy or the shoe guy, so we don't really have any real way of knowing if this is matches who we're actually looking for.
If you press Chelsea enough, her memory might seep in. Because you know it already has. Do you like to ask her? Guys?
Chelsea.
Better safe than sorry.
How about we look at this, would you?
She loves
Is this
That's a body.
okay?
Oh my god.
It's not dead.
Her
Here,
head
Morgan.
begins to shake. She's having a migraine, barely hearing any of you. I know him. He bit me.
Okay.
He bit me.
Thank you, and I'm sure the Princess Alchemist can confirm as well. Let's
It was him. The guy who dragged me out the party brought me to his car. And this one told me not to move. The car drove for hours and I just stood still. I sat there and he bit me.
Do you hear that,
I
Drake?
remember I woke up at my dorm.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Conflicted.
Walker's just going to pull his bone saw out from underneath his coat. How conflicted
not
do
in
you
my
feel?
office, please.
What are you? She's looking at you with the bone saw.
Oh, my apologies. I'll put the bone saw on the table and I'll take out my rather large pistol that I had just tucked in my trousers.
Also not in the school.
Hey, guys, I hate to break it to you, but vampires are illegal as well. So,
Yes, but we have this lovely transportation device. We can move it.
go on.
Yes, we're going to the boathouse, and we'll do what we usually do.
Yeah, call up Lucas and have him rent a pickup or a U-Haul to transport this cargo.
Sure.
We'll
Take a
take
large
it to
pickup truck with a top over the back.
yeah.
What do you guys do?
Time to take it to the messy place and get messy. Drake, why don't you take Chelsea and just give her more instructions for a little bit? I'll fetch you when we're finished.
Works for me.
A +2 has been granted to all of you, in case there's anything you'd like to use it for. But Lucas helps bring this thing as if it was a delicate artifact to the back of the pickup truck. This is going back to Lake Michigan?
Yep.
Okay.
It's this way.
Okay. Once you guys get to the docks, towards the edge, Horatio Ballard's ghoul is waiting. Although it doesn't look like he was here for you, he seems to be pleasant enough, or he seems to have a pleasant enough smile that he's happy to run into you. Ah, you're here. I was not expecting you this evening, but I am nonetheless happy that you're here.
We weren't
There is
expecting
something.
you either.
Yes, well, there is someone who would very much like to meet you. It was not meant to be tonight, but given that you're already here and you've received our gift, I feel it appropriate to at least inform you of who it was responsible for delivering your package, beyond Mr. Ballard's influences, of course. If you're not too busy. He looks at the body, and then he looks at Lake Michigan. Far be it for me to presume what it is that you're going to do with our little package, but if I have my wits about me, I believe I can do that for you. If that is what you wish to accomplish.
Well, much as our previous assignment, I'm assuming that the prince would like at least the head. For testing, of course.
Scientific purposes.
Perhaps you would be better off taking the blood directly with a syringe rather than presenting a bloodless head. Why
A
don't we
medical.
step on to... And he gestures to an immaculate-looking massive yacht. This is Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street massive. And we can handle the business there. Very good. He smiles. He lets you into the yacht. You can start sewing the head off. He just suggests to take a sample of the blood with a syringe rather than relying on a head that's been decapitated because it'll just desiccate.
Should probably do both
But
to be safe.
Yes.
now, once you saw the head off with a bone saw, to which a sight that Chelsea has absolutely no desire to be a part of.
Yeah,
It will
no,
not
Drake.
be a
We
part
were letting Drake and Chelsea go their own way while we took care of the body.
Right. So you saw off the head, and you have a sample of the blood in a syringe and put into a freezer so it doesn't rot. The head itself begins to desiccate. The kindred is not that old. It rots roughly the equivalent of days, maybe weeks. Very young. As for the rest of the body, the ghoul looks to all of you. I shall take care of that. But if you'd like to see, he goes over to a lower deck where they have an onboard incinerator. And they just shove the body inside.
Vivian is taking notes. It's like, need to save up a little bit more money and make a few more investments.
The upkeep is ridiculous. It surely be cheaper just to buy an anchor.
Yes, but
That is much more foolproof.
There are deep diving expeditions done at the bottom to Lake Michigan. Rarely do they reach the bottom, but it happens. On the other hand, shoves in the incinerator and just pulls the hatch, and you don't see, but you hear the sound of fire as the beast almost recoils at that sound. Now, we should not keep our guest waiting. She is expecting Mr. Ballard in a few hours, but given that you're here and I have informed her, she's very much eager to meet all of you. He walks up and walks to a main room. There is a woman there inside what looks like a small office, looking at Chicago's skyline through like the window of the boat. She has extremely long dark hair just past her shoulders. Wears a beautiful dress with a very deep V showing off her clavicle. And looks forward. And she just smiles at you. There is a beauty to this woman that you just can't put your hand on. You can't put your finger on it. But there is a gorgeousness to her as you look at her. It's very hard to look away. As she looks, she smiles and gestures to the seats in front. Asks you to sit. My. The newest members of the undead in Chicago. I heard that you were wise enough to accept Mr. Ballard's offer. And I was very eager for this meeting to occur. I like to meet the people of this city, young and old, who are wise beyond their years. For all intents and purposes, you may refer to me as Portia. Mr. Ballard's goals align with my own. And now that you are part of our little family, it will align with yours. Now that you've accepted the offer, I will put on the table for you everything that you can expect from this partnership. First is status. A neonate is a neonate. No matter what happens, you are young and inexperienced in the grand scheme of this world, but there is no reason a neonate cannot be given certain privileges. Domains, perhaps. Something more fitting of those who have helped achieve the goals of those soon to be sitting atop Chicago. Your choice, block by block, parts of the city, I will grant you. Feeding will never be easier. Finding your groups will never be easier. Contacts, the police, the FBI, the NSA if you like. Everything you need to survive these nights. What's more, power. The right to claim it. She smiles. The right to grow in it. The sought after right to become more than what you are. She leans back, and the way she speaks makes all of you by default think of what Vivian said. Diablerie, she called it. Taking all of a kindred's power for your own. Does that not sound enticing, young ones?
Yes.
Perhaps you disagree with the rule of the sheriff. Perhaps you have a bone to pick with the court. Perhaps the prince is not to your liking. Whatever your personal opinions are, I will hear them. It will be taken into account. But since you have agreed to this little help, allow me to inform you of one thing. And I will speak as directly as I like. She drinks from a cup of blood and finishes it. Prince Jackson's time draws to a close, as did that of his predecessor before him. You can ride the wave, or you can try ever so desperately to swim against it. The decision will come sooner than expected. But for now, you will play his favorite neonate dogs. Until such time that you are going to be granted so much more. She smiles. I will make you more than just dogs of the prince. I will make you all into something you could only dream of. She gives this wicked smile, and all of her words flow like honey into your ears. But she's not necessarily lying. There is a veiled threat under her words. As much as she is willing to give you for being with her. That is probably as much as she's willing to take from you if you go against her. She smiles. Mr. Ballard will be here soon. Can I count on your support, and that I may inform him that you are on board? She gives a very wicked but beautiful smile.
And Nora's just gonna like scramble to answer. Like, absolutely, yes.
Lovely. Are the rest of you in agreement?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Vivian was just talking about how much Jax's time is coming to an end. And that like Vivian.
Vivian throws you side eye.
In the car. On the way here.
I said whether or not his time was coming. However, Prince Jackson showed great mercy in allowing these three to live and granted me the privilege, which you don't need a roll to see that that is a curse word and not a thankful word, of being their chaperone. The kindness...
She interrupts you and says, well, I don't see that as anything necessary. If the four of you perform as expected under Horatio Ballard's request, I don't see any reason why any of you require a chaperone.
And the kindness that you have extended us via Mr. Ballard's offer far outshines that mercy. You can count on me.
Excellent. She looks at Drake. And you? Blood of my blood? My clan. She gives you that eye that you are of the same clan, and she makes that clear.
I stand well with my coterie.
A wise choice. This has been most enlightening. She stands up. To a beautiful partnership in these beautiful nights. Mr. Ballard will arrive here soon. I shall give him the wonderful news. She walks off, opens the door for you, which is an odd gesture from her, but she does anyway. You should all very well know. Mr. Jackson is Prince solely by my absence. And Mr. Ballard will become Prince solely by my grace. She lets you leave, giving you this look. It's as if we harken back to what Vivian said about the hand moving the pieces. You just met the hand. But you guys are allowed to walk out the door. Chelsea, who is a little less mentally stable or mentally fortified than the rest of you, is stuck looking at her. She just nods and then leaves as soon as she realizes the four of you are out the door. Once the door closes, there's an immediate feeling of sadness that you don't get to look upon her anymore. But that quickly fades as you step off the yacht. What do you do?
We should switch back to the limo and turn this vial into the prince. And not a word of what just happened tonight. From any of you. Otherwise, we are dead.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
You head back. You drive. Head to the ivory tower after all of that. Is this a silent car ride?
I think that went well.
Yeah, very, very well.
We're still fake breathing, so.
And we still have your friend.
You're welcome to put "our" in front of friend, you know.
Oh, make no mistake, she's no friend. But it is much better to be on her side than not. I don't know who she is, but I could feel. You felt that power. That's far more than Ballard or Jackson could ever summon. Just by being in her presence. Yeah, I don't think we can call her friend, but it is much better to be on her side than not.
Agreed. Vivian, I wasn't trying to stitch you up there. I could just see that you might have needed a little nudge to get her to buy in a little bit. It's no hard feelings.
Rule number 1, look out for yourself. Rule number 2, look out for your coterie. Self always comes first.
I don't know, Viv. I thought you were gonna kill him over that. I'll be honest with the look you gave him.
Appearances must be kept.
Okay. You guys arrive at the ivory tower, that same building you were in just last night. Once you enter in, the receptionist looks at the four of you, makes an assumption, and directs you to the elevator, not asking. Once you arrive,
Chelsea's with
doors
us.
open.
Chelsea's with us because they'll need to test her blood against the vial that
Yes.
we're bringing. Yeah.
You move over, you come inside. The prince is currently dismissing some older vampires. The rest of you recognize them as the Primogens. Now, one of them, Nora, is more than aware of. That handsome man in that handsome suit. The rest of you know him as the Malkavian Primogen of Chicago. But
Son!
he just smiles and does nothing. He just smiles at all of you, gives one look to Nora, but walks off. Now, before everyone else leaves, the prince asks one of the Tremere to stay. You've already met him, Abraham Dusab. And then he looks at you. I presume you're here because you're done with what I asked.
Yes. And Vivian will produce a vial of the Kindred's blood.
To Sob. He hands it to him. Tastes it. Nods and then looks at Chelsea. Your arm. She lifts it up shakily as he grabs it and then just slices her wrist across. Drops her blood on a bowl as she sort of winces in the pain. And just on instinct alone, it heals for her. He drinks it from the bowl. Sire and childer, my prince. 13th generation sire. And a successful creation of a Finn blood, a duskborn. You're dismissed, Usab. He looks at the four of you. Excellent work, then. And at an expedited timeline, no less. Now we can finally get rid of the trash. You see her look and then take a step back. And then you hear one of the ghouls go up to the prince, right as he's about to order Damien to take the swing at her head. Damien already carrying a large executioner's sword. Mr. Jackson, it's Mr. Ballard. What does he want? He says it's urgent, sir. Ballard, this better be good. I'm in the middle of business. Surely, you jest. You are talking about harboring. I see. I hope you remember, Ballard, who the prince of the city is, and that my graciousness to you has its limits. And you see him break the phone in his hand, throws it aside. Bring this ghoul, bring this abomination to Mr. Ballard. He has yet use of her. The sheriff just looks. The prince waves him off, and the sheriff puts the executioner's sword back on the display. Go. Remove this trash from my sight. Immediately tells you to leave.
Exit stage left, followed by a bear.
You leave.
Do we want
Again,
to ask?
avoid speaking here.
Do we want to ask Jackson about Ballard?
You see the reaction? We're going. We're leaving.
We're good. Yeah, we'll leave him. Let's go.
Good. So you leave. You head back out. And as you're outside, Chelsea looks terrified, out of breath, and on the brink of tears, but she's alive. To which the limousine is once again waiting for all of you, and the ghoul simply opens it for you to enter. Once you go inside, Mr. Ballard is there. I was on my way to a meeting with a benefactor, but it seems that you had gotten there first. That saves me the time of making an arrangement. And given this duskborn seems to be somewhat important to at least one of you. Her graciousness has extended to allowing her to live. The same cannot be said of most of her kind, but her, she has been given leniency. You may keep her. As far as the city is concerned, she belongs to me. But you may have her until this has all been settled. You have made the right choice. And now I tell you what comes and is expected of you. In the coming nights, there will be a private Elysium held for those in the city of status and power. Myself included, the prince, the sheriff, the primogens, and those the prince deems worthy to be allowed into his home and worship at his feet. He almost visibly bends the Cuban cigar in some small show of anger. You will not be at that Elysium. Instead, you will be here. You will be provided a way into the ivory tower. And he hands a key card over. And you will have access into the prince's chambers. The most powerful kindred in the city will be present at his home. It is most likely the majority of his security will be there. Especially if he expects a betrayal. The rest of you will be here. A 50-story building guarded by bare minimum kind security. With a key card to allow you access into the most restricted areas. You will enter. And you will find documents for me locked inside a vault. Find the vault, open it, find the documents, and retrieve them for me. After which, your part in this scheme will have been played, and you will but sit back and enjoy the fireworks to follow. Not the most difficult of tasks, but one that requires precision, not force. Leave no trace of your presence known, but leave traces of what was taken. I want him to know that it was taken from him. I want him to feel that he has lost something. And then he will figure out what it was lost. And then his downfall begins. Are we clear?
Crystal.
Excellent. Elysium will happen in 2 nights' time. So you have the entirety of this evening and tomorrow to prepare for what you need. And the night after tomorrow, the Elysium will begin and most likely last until I'd wager 3 in the morning. So you have until sundown to 3 a.m. to decide on what to do. on how to do it. You will not be afforded more time, and you will not be given more time. Nor will you have any means of communicating. So I will simply assume that by the time the clock strikes 3, you would have completed the task I have given you.
Oh, Raiders! Yay! Hello, welcome, Raiders!
Welcome. Everyone is about to go through something horrible, but welcome. As Ballard continues to look and say, you are dismissed for this evening. I suggest you take the coming nights to prepare. The blueprint of the building will be given to you. Hands, if you will. And there's another ghoul, not the driver, but another ghoul in the passenger seat who hands over a long blue piece of paper, a blueprint file. I trust I've given you enough to accomplish this job. Rest will be up to you. Neonates or not, this should be a simple task. I expect it to be completed within specifications. And as you have already been informed by our gracious benefactor, the rewards of this will be excellent for your status in Chicago, and I will not forget. He looks. My reputation precedes me. Those who work excellently under me have long since been rewarded appropriately. You may take your leave. I expect great things.
It will be done.
He just nods, the door opens for you. You exit his limousine with a long paper inside a metal tube, the blueprints to the ivory tower. And you can head back to your own car. Chelsea, who is still riding with you, as soon as she rides in the back, shivers, and again, that college teenage attitude comes out where she just says, that guy's always creepy. Oh shit, I'm not supposed to say that, am I?
For now, you're allowed to say it. He's not Prince yet. He is
Right.
creepy. But he's offered us a much better deal than Jackson has. And he's the reason you're still alive. So, creepy or not, we're going to do him a favor.
I get it. So we're robbing that big tower place, right? She shrugs. I can crack a safe. Depends on the safe, but
Why on earth can you crack a safe?
What?
That's not important.
Well,
It's
gotta have
important that she
hobbies.
can.
What? How?
I had a hard life growing up, Professor. I could barely afford community college. Things happened. It's fine. That life was behind me, but I guess some help. I've got some tools, and I've got a few friends who have some better tools. They don't need to know what I'm doing it for, but they won't ask questions either.
He's growing on me.
I'm still not convinced.
How you guys decide to go inside, but I can probably open it. She just sort of leans back and shrinks after Nora says that she's not convinced.
Well, I'm not entirely convinced of Nora either, but they've been very fruitful in what they've done for us. And you have your chance to do the same.
There's a nod from her, and then she looks at social media on her phone. She was looking at her phone to grab a contact. Uh-oh. She goes over on social media, and there's a headline. Local community college professor seen bringing college student into his home.
Ooh. I saw this one coming. I was gonna make a comment when Drake brought her home. I was like, what if someone saw that? Like that doesn't feel good.
It's not the first story that's been written about me that's false. Probably not the first one that I actually paid attention to. But the only issue now is the fact that I'm someone who's not alive anymore.
There was a +2 earlier, but we're coming to a close, and I don't want to waste that graciously given benefit to you, so instead we're going to translate to a current narrative for you right now. Presumably, where do you guys want to head off to? The college?
Yeah, back
Shop
to
strategy?
HQ so we can lay out the blueprints and start trying to make plans. So back to Viv's office probably.
Can we drive by Drake's place to see if there's any protests happening?
No protests, but you guys can roll wits and awareness. Just to view the place from a distance. Also, to the person in chat who suggested to call her student assistant, I will also remind you that this was in the middle of the night, around 2 a.m., where she went in and did not leave until the morning
But he did.
to go back to college.
I
But
also
he did.
left. I doubt the
He
story
did.
says that.
No, it will not. That doesn't generate headlines.
But it's easily disproven with the security footage from my apartment building. And easily written off as a story of
So-
me needing to be elsewhere for medical attention and them watching my apartment and my cat. So I'm sure this can be
So-
snuffed out with ease.
You have a cat?
I do.
No.
Not for
Viv-
you.
Nora and Morgan notice several tabloid, calling them journalists would be an insult, but let's say paparazzi with cameras waiting by the outside the apartment. They don't know which apartment you are in specifically, they just know the building. Consequences of being famous. But they are waiting to see if you enter back in with the woman.
I won't. If you all wouldn't mind, I'm going to go handle this. I'll meet you all back at campus. I'll hit a rouse check to blush myself a little bit. Oh, that's horrendous. Ooh, that's bad.
Thankfully, the bestial failure only matters for specific.
Oh, thank God.
On the rouse check, it only matters for a specific bane of a specific clan or a specific flaw, something like that.
However, it is bad because you are now at 4 hunger and are about to confront some people who really piss you off.
Carry on, driver.
No, nope.
Let's go. Let's get out of here.
I'm out of the vehicle.
So, you left the vehicle as you try to keep your composure. There's a hint of anger. Like there's always some of these people trying to ruin your reputation, everything you've worked so hard for, they just can't help but try to bring you down, as if you don't have enough problems. But you try to remain calm as you find them, and they take not photos, but they take out um, those Boya recorders with the small fuzzy mics, putting it up to you, asking you for comments about a recent story.
Yes, absolutely. Walk with me, please, and I'm going to walk us in the opposite direction that the vehicle's going.
Okay.
And do my little interview where, yes, my student assistant, new founded due to my recent condition, which I'll get into, was in fact watching my apartment. You can absolutely check with the hotel staff and find out that I did in fact leave the night and was not there with them. I have come into my own medical case, which I will not divulge because my medical history is my own personal matters. However, due to the nature of what I've been facing, it's been difficult to me to get to classes, which is why I've been absent so recently. The school is aware of this, and they will also confirm this if you'd like to check. But all I'm doing is making sure my cat is healthy and fed while I am handling my medical procedures.
Charisma and your persuasion, please. With 4 hunger.
Nora smells a PR nightmare.
The unfortunate thing here is that there is no dice for you to willpower because you cannot willpower the red dice,
Yep.
which is your hunger. The good news is this is enough to make them back off for a bit. So you're skirting the line of letting them walk and ending it here. But you do let them walk. Whether that's enough or not, there's a part of you that feels like you'll have to take things into your own hands and maybe put a social media post, which is technically against the rules, but they're tabloid writers.
Yeah.
You've likely convinced them nothing is going on. But that also kind of means that they're probably just going to make up something anyways to have a headline. Or drop it completely and not make a retraction of what they said. That would be your best case scenario, is that they just leave it as a floating story.
Well, hopefully
But
I
they
can...
leave.
If that doesn't work, hopefully I can pull on my contacts and use some of my influence to snuff out any other dirt that they bring up.
That is true. Now you can head back to the car, because everyone on the street right now, in this rather populated street, is looking like a Capri Sun, and you are very thirsty.
Oh, well, that was quick enough to get back in the car. Absolutely.
Like, while you're gone, Viv and Nora, you'll see me pick up the car phone, just hold it to my ear for maybe 20-30 seconds. Okay, if you're sure. Alright. I'll ask her. Alright. And I'll put the phone back down. I'll step outside the car, ask Chelsea to step outside, and Drake, as you're returning, maybe just overhear me saying, "You said just go straight that way. Outside the apartment, he's waiting for you. He needs you to corroborate this." Drake! Come back. Welcome out. Is everything okay?
You're not exactly helping the situation with having us
Chelsea's
all
just
get back into a car together.
Okay. He just sits back inside, confused.
Cross paths. Let's go.
What are you doing, Morgan?
What? You wouldn't understand. It's all on the grand scheme.
Considering you're not gonna tell me, probably not.
I thought you might need our help. I thought they might
I
have.
thought you were on the phone with him.
I was, yes. Well, his PA. Technically, his PA. Isn't that right, Drake?
You are a rampant liar. You're almost as bad as these tabloid journalists. I have been in this situation before, and I can handle it. Thank you for your concern. We're now going to campus, and I will find all of you later there again, because I need to get something to eat.
Okay.
Would Drake
Watch
like
for
to feed?
cameras.
Oh, we'll get the campus to feed. I need to.
Alright.
I need to find one of my students doing a late night work.
So before office, manipulation, persuasion.
Oh, sure.
Just before you get to campus.
Please.
2. Okay. Not bad. Not enough to fully remove it, but you can feed 2. At least.
Perfect.
From a late night student in the library about to leave.
Perfect. One of mine.
Yeah, if you're looking specifically for that, there's one of them
Yeah.
probably late night doing some research.
Yeah, I gotta keep with my prey exclusion, but also it
Right.
matters since with them I do have lingering kiss, which if it's one of mine I'd like to use.
Okay, that's good. All right, you use lingering kiss on the student. She walks away, keeps turning back to you, walks
we'll
away, turns back.
We'll also cloud memory of the bite as well.
Even worse, so she's addicted to something she can't remember. So she just looks utterly confused. Drawn to you, but unsure why. Drawn to something, she doesn't know what. Her memory is gone. She's horribly confused.
It's just the
But you
last
do
few
feed
minutes.
2 points of hunger. Now, as I said, since we're about to close this session off, that +2 that was given to you earlier comes in the form of when you enter the building. Before you get to the office, just along the hallways where the cameras are off and there are no security guards roaming, you hear a voice from the shadow. Hey. And coming forward is a horrific looking man that makes Drake's blood boil and the beast recoil a bit. His skin looks like it's made of worn out gray leather that's been stretched over bone. It's sunken like there's no meat or fat inside, just skin over bone. His ears are pointed and then crooked, with one of them having what looks like a bite mark that's chomped it off. Teeth are protruding from the front, all of them sharp. And because of that, his top jaw looks like it's protruding forward and there's just teeth over it. And his eyes are just solid black like marbles. No nose. It looks like it's just flattened and upturned. To Vivian, and based on what she's already told all of you, a Nosferatu. First time seeing one since you've been turned. I know I'm trespassing, but I'm here because you're working for the same person. And I want them to succeed, which means I want you to succeed. So we don't have to make much about this. I just want to hand this to you. And he hands you a burner phone. There's a number in there of a not so loyal soldier who might be willing to do a little bit of help for you for the right price in regards to security footage and a few open doors that they might not notice. I don't know why they sent you instead of us and me, but if they sent you, there must be something to it. And I need them to do this right, so I need you to do it right. You won't see me again until the end of all this. And with your permission, I'll take my leave now.
Thank you.
That's a one-time call on a one-time phone. Make sure you use it when you need to. He walks forward as you assumingly let him leave. There's just a large hunch over his back, and as he turns the corner, he just disappears from sight. Now that you've been granted a phone with a single number, and it's one of those single-use burners, the kind that once you've opened and used it, it's gone. That, plus the blueprint, plus once again terrified Chelsea hiding behind, well, the rest of you, since Drake comes here a little later. Completely holding in the scream of terror of seeing that face. We will close that off for the evening, as you guys will start planning and executing next week, where we will have our Chronicles finale next week for those watching, so please come in, spend as much as you want to in terms of giving them pluses or minuses. For the purposes of next week, the negatives will be either dice or narrative, depending on what point in the story they come in and what happens to them. But for now, for those who stayed with us, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget, you can join our Discord, subscribe to YouTube, and come catch us again next week. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and we will see you again then. Bye.
Cybernation Uncensored.